seize the opportunity to extend our congratulations to the Kingdom of Bahrain and our appreciation for the genuine efforts that they have deployed during their successful presidency of the Council. We reaffirm your effective role in enhancing international and regional peace and security. Mr. President, in line of the steadfast commitment of our King and his concern over the situation in the Palestinian territories, Morocco reiterates its call to further mobilizing the international community to settle all conflicts in the region and to reach a comprehensive and just peace. In this context, the Kingdom of Morocco welcomes the announcement by the President of the US, Mr. Trump, the launch of the second phase of the ceasefire in Gaza. The Kingdom of Morocco reiterates its gratitude for the personal engagement of President Trump, which have led to this positive result. We also appreciate the relentless efforts made by all the mediators, and we call upon all parties to fully implement this agreement in order to allow full humanitarian access at scale and to initiate the reconstruction process based on a just and comprehensive and lasting solution to the question of Palestine. We reaffirm the need to end settlements and annexation plans and to end the incursions of Al-Aqsa mosques. Mr. President, the Kingdom of Morocco and His Majesty the King reaffirms its commitment to the two-state solution as inevitable basis of any just and lasting peace in the region through the establishment of a sovereign state of Palestine along the borders of 1967 with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital. West Bank would be part and parcel of the state of Palestine that lives in peace and security with the state of Israel. We reaffirm our commitment to positively engage in all the stages and processes that are agreed upon in order to guarantee the rights of the brotherly Palestinian people and support stability in the Middle East. Mr. President, these developments, which are welcome developments, require a genuine commitment in order to move to negotiations that would lead to an established time frame that would guarantee the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people. At the same time, we need to integrate the economic dimension in the peace process. This is a major factor to achieve stability and development. There's also a need to increase our support to the Palestinian Authority led by President Mahmoud Abbas, Abu Mazen, in order to reinforce their institutions and meet the aspirations of the Palestinian people to security and stability and dignity. The coming stage requires political and financial support to UNRWA to enable it to discharge its vital role and to provide humanitarian support to Palestinians. Mr. President, out of our commitment to peace in the Middle East and in order to support the two-state solution, His Majesty the King, Chair of Al-Quds Commission, accepted the invitation of President Trump to join the Board of Peace as a founding member. This is an initiative that aims at contributing to the peace efforts in the Middle East and to adopt a new approach to settle conflicts worldwide. And also, in order to contribute the international force for Gaza, we are ready to deploy members of the Moroccan police to train the police in Gaza and to deploy members of our royal army as members of the force and to establish a mobile hospital that would provide urgent medical services and to launch a comprehensive program to prevent hate speech and confirm peaceful coexistence. Mr. President, we reaffirm our commitment to defend holy sites, especially Al-Aqsa Mosque, which has a special place in the heart of our Majesty the King, who is President of Al-Quds Committee. We have launched several programs, projects and initiatives that are implemented by the executive branch of Al-Quds Commission in order to preserve the legal and historical status of the city of Jerusalem and to respond to the legitimate aspirations of the Palestinian people and to establish their independent sovereignty sovereign states with East Jerusalem as its past capital along the lines of 1967. In conclusion, Mr. President, the Kingdom of Morocco reaffirms once again its full commitment, its full solidarity with the members of the GCC and our solidarity with the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. We support them in all the legitimate measures that they would adopt in order to protect their security and their residents and nationals. The Kingdom of Morocco emphasizes that the security of brotherly Arab countries are part of its own security. Thank you, President. I thank the representative of Morocco for her statement.
Or to the representative of South Africa.
President, we thank the Kingdom of Bahrain for convening this quarterly open debate on the Middle East, including the question of Palestine. President, we meet at an unprecedented period since the end of World War II, with international law, multilateralism, and the credibility of this Council being tested. The entire Middle East has been plunged into violent confrontation and instability following the joint United States and Israel attack against Iran. This military conflagration in the region has left several countries in positions of profound fragility and instability. South Africa is deeply concerned and alarmed by Israel's continued military aggression in Lebanon, Syria, and Palestine, which has resulted in civilian casualties, the destruction of essential infrastructure, and the displacement of communities. The attacks on Lebanon constitute a serious breach of Lebanon's sovereignty and territorial integrity, further destabilizing the region and must be condemned. While we welcome the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon and have encouraged both parties to pursue peace talks, we stress that there can be no military solution and condemn Israel's continued and consistent violation of the ceasefire agreement, including that of the ceasefire authorized by the UN Security Council Resolution 2803. The blatant and brazen violation of ceasefires undermines the ability of these agreements to build the trust needed for further negotiation for sustainable peace. President, it is deeply concerning that since the announcement of the ceasefire in Gaza in October 2025, over 700 Palestinians have been killed. We are also concerned by the harrowing reports of the continued killing of Palestinians, as well as the demolition and bulldozing of homes in new sections of Khan Yunis and eastern Gaza City neighborhoods. President, the continued closure of the Rafah crossing to aid deliveries has resulted in what the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs calls a major bottleneck. It constitutes the choking off of a vital lifeline to the people of Gaza, and we call for the immediate, unhindered delivery of aid at scale required to meet the Gazan population's urgent needs. President, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East, or UNRWA, plays a crucial role in delivering humanitarian aid to Palestinian refugees. It is therefore important to underscore that the international community has a moral responsibility to ensure that UNRWA's vital work continues unhindered. The political campaign seeking to undermine UNRWA's credibility and operational mandate must be stopped by member states by supporting the UN's efforts to uphold the agency's mandate and exerting diplomatic pressure on Israel to comply with international law and the International Court of Justice rulings. There is a need to act collectively and demand that Israel immediately revoke this legislation restricting the agency's work and that it instead complies fully with the obligations under international law. Efforts to delegitimize UNRWA have direct consequences on refugees' rights, regional stability, and service delivery. South Africa reaffirms its full support for UNRWA's indispensable role in providing life-saving humanitarian assistance and human development services. UNRWA is not an optional actor. It is a lifeline for millions of Palestine refugees. President, South Africa continues to believe that peace in the Middle East remains contingent on the realization of Palestinian statehood. Our failure to find a lasting solution to the plight of the people of Palestine and ensure their self-determination, security, and freedom remains an enduring threat to the international community's core objective of achieving a just and peaceful settlement of the question of Palestine that results in Palestine's statehood. President, the protection of civilians must remain paramount. We are alarmed by the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza and the continuing violence affecting civilians in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. International humanitarian law is not optional. All parties must ensure unhindered humanitarian access, the protection of civilian infrastructure, and adhere to the obligation to distinguish between civilians and combatants. President, we call on Israel to halt the E1 settlement project in the occupied West Bank and to reverse the expansion of settlements. These illegal settlements violate international law and UN Security Council resolutions, including Resolution 2334 of December 2016, which declared that Israeli settlements in Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem, have no legal validity and constitute a flagrant violation under international law. In conclusion, President, UN member states must work collectively to take active, irreversible steps to end Israel's unlawful occupation and realize the Palestinian people's right to self-determination through statehood that delivers true sovereignty on equal terms with Israel. South Africa will continue to support all efforts towards this goal so that Palestinians can live in peace and dignity. I thank you.
I thank the representative of South Africa for the statement. I now give the floor to the Federated States of Micronesia.
All right, as you see, they're listening into the UN Security Council meeting. They're talking about the conflict in the Middle East and its impact on some of those nations. We're going to take this opportunity to slide away for our first 2-minute commercial break of the hour. On the other side, though, much more on these top stories. Stay right here with us. Thanks for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Christina Evans. We do have a bit of breaking news that I want to bring to you right now as we have this post there from Fox 13 in Seattle. Our team is now covering this. We know that at least 5 people have been injured after a stabbing incident that happened at Foss High School in Tacoma, Washington this afternoon. And so we have a very short update there from Fox 13. Again, saying that multiple people were injured in the stabbing incident. Fox 13 was able to confirm with the Tacoma Fire Department that there are a total of 5 patients in this case. 4 of them are currently in critical condition. According to the Tacoma Police Department, though, 1 suspect is in custody. It is unknown at this time if these victims are considered to be students of that high school. But once again, this is the breaking news that we have here on Live Now from Fox, and at least 5 people have been injured in the stabbing incident at Foss High School in Tacoma, Washington. We are going to leave you with this as we're continuing to track ththese details as they'll continue to come into our newsroom. A live look there over Tacoma. If we get any more updates on those who have been injured in this case or on that person who was taken into custody possibly acted on their own, we'll find out much more as that reporting there with our team in Fox 13 continues on. In the meantime, though, we do want to continue on with our other top stories that we're now following today. I want to take you out to this, back out to New York City, where we've been listening into the UN Security Council as they're right now meeting on the conflict in the Middle East, hearing different conversations there and statements from multiple nations. Let's listen back in.
Gulf, who have been among the first to feel the impact of this conflict. Diplomacy, dialogue, and de-escalation must remain our guiding principles in addressing the current situation and preventing further escalation. Disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz highlight the importance of sustained diplomatic engagement to preserve maritime security and ensure durable, secure freedom of navigation in line with international law and regional stability. Instability in this vital corridor has direct repercussions for global supply chains, energy markets, and broader economic stability worldwide. Yet even as these dynamics evolve, the situation in Gaza and the West Bank continues to require sustained, focused attention. The ceasefire in Gaza remains fragile. The humanitarian situation continues to demand sustained access and the full protection of civilians. Developments in the West Bank, particularly settlement expansion and settler violence, continue to erode the conditions necessary for a negotiated solution. These are not isolated developments that directly impact the viability of a future political settlement. Malta's position is clear and consistent. A just and lasting peace can only be achieved through an end to violence against civilians and a 2-state solution in line with international law and relevant United Nations resolutions, based on the 4th of June 1967 lines, with East Jerusalem as the capital of a future Palestinian state, living side by side with Israel in peace and security. We must also address the obstacles to this outcome with equal clarity. Hamas's continued refusal to disarm and its role in perpetuating violence cannot form part of any future political arrangement. In this regard, the Palestinian Authority must be supported as the sole legitimate basis for governance and strengthened in its capacity to assume that role. Without this, the space for a credible political solution narrows further. President, the situation in Lebanon further reflects the fragility of the wider region. The current ceasefire remains vulnerable, and the unresolved issue of Hezbollah's armament continues to pose a risk of a renewed escalation. We welcome the recent efforts by the parties to engage in dialogue, facilitated by the United States.
All right, we were listening into a bit more there from the UN Security Council, but we have yet another live event that's coming into our newsroom. This one might catch your attention as it has to do with AI. We do know this is outside of the courthouse where the trial is now continuing, where Elon Musk and Sam Altman are going back and forth in a court battle that could talk a little bit more about the direction of artificial intelligence here in the United States. Let's listen in.
I put it like this, that Judge Gonzalez-Rogers was making sure the evidence was as it was supposed to be.
Any other questions? In your line of questioning, why is it relevant that you're trying to ask Elon himself about how all of his companies are for-profit? Can you talk a little bit about why that's important in your line of questioning?
We think it's evidently significant to understand the motivations and conduct of someone who's trying to bring this lawsuit.
What about the open source aspect? Why did you dwell on that with XAI not putting out its own models?
Here again, the question whether artificial intelligence models need to be open sourced and when they should be open sourced is an important question, and it's a delicate balance. OpenAI has been striking it exactly correctly, we think, and looking at how others operate is relevant to that analysis.
Is Brockman still expected on Monday?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Is Greg Brockman still expected on Monday?
I just don't know.
Musk made some very big statements about his concerns about the value of OpenAI and the nonprofit portion being moved to the for-profit portion. Can you talk about that? Is that in fact happening?
We don't think it's happening, and I don't want to get into specific matters that are the subject of the case, but no, we don't think that that's happening.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Are you making any progress in settlement talks?
I can't speak to that.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it greatly.
Thank you.
Bill.
All right, we were hearing some of those representatives speaking outside of the courtroom. Of course, this is something that we've been paying close attention to as well here on Live Now from Fox, as it all has to do with artificial intelligence. Ultimately, we do know that today, Elon Musk testified in court against OpenAI leader Sam Altman. They've been entrenched in this battle that could ultimately alter the direction of artificial intelligence. Of course, we do know that Musk has been a co-founder of OpenAI. He's now seeking more than $100 billion in damages for alleged violations of the promise for OpenAI to remain a nonprofit. And so right now we're continuing to get some of these images. Let's pump up the audio and listen back in as some of these lawyers are leaving the courthouse.
It's at House of Press.
The press has been very good today. I think it's been quite compelling in terms of Musk's, I think, disingenuousness of, particularly when you purchased this with the investors, had you purchased it with them, you were probably not.
All right, so we did want to show you those moments and listen in to some of those lawyers as they were continuing to give us the very latest update. Ultimately, though, again, this was the day that we got to hear from Elon Musk in court. He spent the better part of the last 3 days there on the stand, accusing OpenAI and its executives of deceiving him into donating money to help found what is now one of the world's biggest AI companies. Right now, this lawsuit is now pitting Musk against his former collaborators, now turned competitors, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman as well. And so you may have heard his name, as he is huge in the artificial intelligence space. And right now, we're continuing to watch how all of this is going to unfold. We'll see where this ends up. This is a stakeout camera, so we could potentially hear from others who were inside of the courtroom today alongside Elon Musk. And so we'll keep you updated with the very latest if any more remarks come. In the meantime, let's take this opportunity, though, to slide away for our second 2-minute commercial break of the hour. Much more on these top stories and live events when we return. Stay with us. Thanks again for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. We're continuing to follow that breaking news that's coming to us out of Washington State. I'm going to put this back up on your screen in case you missed it. Here, as we were watching, as Fox 13 is now reporting there that at least 5 people have been injured after a stabbing incident happened at Foss High School in Tacoma, Washington. This happened this afternoon there in the city. We do know that it's about 30 or so minutes from Seattle proper, Tacoma, Washington is, and so we're continuing to get these updates as this is a developing story. Ultimately, though, our partners at Fox 13 are reporting that they confirmed with the Tacoma Fire Department that there are a total of 5 patients. 4 of them are currently in critical condition. According to the Tacoma Police Department, 1 suspect is also in custody. It is unclear at this time if these victims in the stabbing are students. Fox 13 is currently sending a crew to the scene in order to gather a bit more information and is going to continue to keep us updated. But in the meantime, I do want to show you this live look that we have overlooking Tacoma. Again, it's about 30 or so minutes outside of Seattle. This vantage point shows us a shot that we have there of Mount Rainier in the distance. In the meantime, though, it does appear that we finally have a live picture there of the scene. I'm going to take you out to it here, and then we're also going to go into some of their coverage as they are covering this live as well. This is a live vantage point that we have outside of Foss High School in Tacoma, Washington. You can see the police presence all around at this point. And so just a few seconds ago, before I was able to take this live, we also had our person there on the ground who's controlling the camera operator, showing a few students who were standing off to the side. But again, it does appear to be a decently large police presence with their lights still going at this point, with those police cruisers outside of Foss High School. What we can now do, though, is turn our attention to the coverage partners that we have at Fox 13 as they have a bit more information and clarity about this situation. Also, an understanding of what's happening there on the ground. Let's listen in.
Everyone was stabbed. Again, if you were with us just moments ago, you know that Fox 13's Dan Griffin was confirming information from Tacoma Police as he was working his way there. And this is raw video coming into our newsroom. This is how we see things as they unfold for those of us that are working behind the scenes inside of our building. So Fox 13's Dan Griffin, you may have caught him walking just moments ago while Alan was talking. He's been going around and trying to talk to all the movers and shakers out there and get information about what is unfolding there. And I have a little bit of sound coming in, but I'm going to guess that this is just going to be some background noise, but we'll turn on the mics for just a second. So you can hear there is actually a siren or a notice going out over campus where you hear that almost robotic voice shouting, "This is a lockdown," and you can see as those students are leaving. Again, for those of you just joining us, if you're worried, if you have family or friends out there, the latest information is that the suspect is in custody. We do know that 5 people were injured. We do not know how many of them were stabbed. Preliminary information said 5 stabbed. Now, Tacoma Police say multiple people injured. We do not know how many are stabbed because we don't know if they were stabbed or if there were some kind of other injuries. You got to imagine there was some kind of a panic in there because this all stemmed from a fight inside of Foss High School there in Tacoma. Let's listen in live and you'll hear that voice. So students working their way out, you can only imagine. Alan, you and I have lived through this. We're elder millennials, and I hate to say it, but we grew up in a time where we were afraid of what could happen inside of schools. We lived through these situations where people were being injured in school shootings, but this next generation that's going to school right now, boy, I mean, they're living through a completely different world right now. I mean, we're talking about, how often do we talk about these things? But then when you hear the word stabbing, and we don't know if this was a knife, we don't know if they just grabbed something and used whatever they could to hurt people in the middle of a fight, but obviously kids are dealing with like a completely different world than what even we did. And even when we were kids, man, people were saying this is too much. Kids shouldn't have to deal with this. For lack of better terms, my heart is breaking, and I'm trying not to get emotional as I talk about parents reuniting with kids here, because this is the thing you fear the most as a parent, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear the information, 4 students hurt and a security guard hurt, that kind of paints a pretty crazy picture of what potentially could have happened at this school. It's great news to hear that the suspect is in custody, and this immediate threat to these students that are being released in the next 10 minutes. To go home, to go home, to hang out with their parents and be with their family. It's just, there's so much unknown, and it's just a crazy scene. Like, it's never an easy feeling to hear that, your school's going on lockdown. Like, I remember plenty of lockdowns when I was in grade school, and it was never fun. I remember very scary moments of lockdowns, of stabbings and shootings across the streets from my high schools and elementary schools growing up. And I just empathize with all these students that are there, with all the teachers and the administration, but also all the parents that are just waiting in line, probably, to just pick up their kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just such a crazy scene. Like, this is not what you want at a high school.
And the latest information that we have is that police are there. You see them on your screen right now, and what they're going to be doing is working to reunite the kids that are being evacuated with parents in that student parking lot area. That is according to Tacoma Police. We are still awaiting new information, and as we get more details coming in from Tacoma Public Schools, we'll of course push that out to you as well. I mentioned that Fox 13's Dan Griffin is on the ground. I've been listening. If you hear the hustle and bustle behind me, I just remind our viewers, I'm smack dab in the middle of the newsroom, so a lot of the back and forth, the doors closing here, those are our evening crews rushing out the door, making their way down to Tacoma. So we'll be on top of this all day. But what you're looking at live here, this is the front of Foss High School down there in Tacoma. If you're not familiar with this area, but you're a sports fan, this is near Cheney Stadium. So all these kids are coming out right now, and the push is to get them reunited with parents, and that should give you a good idea, an indication of how serious this is, because this means that they're wrapping up school early for the day. Now, while we're getting those live images on your screen, I see Fox 13's Dan Griffin is getting ready in front of the mic, so I can assume that we'll be chatting with him in a little bit. Fox 13's Alan Pavlik will be behind the scenes and give me some details of when he is available. However, we look at this map. It gives you a good idea of where we're located. I want to give you some quick details that we know right now. It sounds like this all began as some type of a fight, and then you have this fallout inside of the school, and we're waiting to find out whether or not those individuals were all stabbed. You'll notice that we changed our graphic to say 5 people hurt after stabbing, suspect arrested. And one of the reasons we're telling you that is because Tacoma Police have clarified that we don't know how many people were actually stabbed in this situation, because they say that there could be additional injuries because people were scattering, running into different directions. We're going to stay on top of this. All right, Fox 13's Dan Griffin appears to be ready. Alan, behind the scenes, a little housekeeping. If you can move him over into the other channel so he can hear me clearly and that he doesn't get any extra feedback. We're going to go out live to Fox 13's Dan Griffin right now. Dan, this is just such a heartbreaking situation. I panic as a parent when I hear this. I know that there's going to be parents that are watching right now. You hear a stabbing, you hear a high school. Hopefully you've got some information that can ease some minds, but what are you hearing right now?
Well, the first bit of information, Matt, that I think parents will want to know is that a suspect is detained. They have a suspect. So then they say it's the only suspect. So if you are a concerned parent out there wondering what's going on, we do know that. You know, we talked with Tacoma Police about this. They say the scene is secure, but in the background, you hear this eerie recording that's going over and over here at Foss High School. And they're saying this is a lockdown. You see parents standing off to the side. And actually, you know, I'm going to get out of the way so you can take a look at what we're seeing here, but parents standing off to the side with their kids, students who are out here in the parking lot, and then in the backdrop, you see yellow crime tape, you see police lights flashing, and you hear, "This is a lockdown." They are working to evacuate students here at the school after what apparently was a stabbing incident that they were called to here. Unclear at this point if the suspect is a student. They are working with Tacoma Public Schools to try to get all of the information here gathered and to make sure parents and students are fully informed. But they got a call of the stabbing here at Foss High School, apparently stemming from a fight. Officers arrived. They found 4 students hurt, a security guard hurt as well. And they tell me they're working to determine if all of them were stabbed or if perhaps they were hurt in some other way, maybe by falling or something along those lines. That's just not clear right now. So they tell us that everyone who has been hurt, of those 5 victims, were taken to the hospital, and they are working to get information about how they're doing and their injuries, but they're all believed to have non-life-threatening injuries, so they are expected to survive, but certainly a scary situation. You know, kids come to school to learn. They do not come to school to experience something like this. We've been asking a number of questions here of Tacoma Police. Do they know what was used in the stabbing incident? They do not know. I asked them, do you know where this occurred? Where did this stabbing, where did this incident occur? They do not have that information for us just yet, but we're told that the school has been on lockdown. Police have been here on the scene evaluating and evacuating students and reuniting them with their parents. And you can see students continuing to come out here now after a day that, this is just not what students expect to experience when they come to school. I'm going to ask these people really quick if they'd like to talk to us, because this mom has been standing here adamantly, and I want to see, excuse me.
Dan, take your time. Wave me down if you need us. And so Dan Griffin, walking, trying to talk with some folks. We'll be checking back in with him in real time. Dan, I know you're still listening, so if and when you want me to open back up the mics, just give me a thumbs up. And to our viewers, this is all unfolding in real time, and Dan's going to be trying to gather and make sure that everybody has a better understanding of how this is unfolding. While he chats with those people, I've got his microphone muted, so we are not breaching any confidence here, but he's going to try to have a conversation with these individuals that are out there right now after multiple people were stabbed. We'll pull up the graphic for you so you have a better understanding of how this all works out. And I see Dan is walking towards the camera. Dan, if you want to give us a thumbs up, are you okay with me unmuting you?
I think we're okay to unmute. Do you mind to come up here with me? Yeah. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to have you, can you give me your name first?
Oh, my name is Annalisa.
Annalisa, and then what's your name?
I'm Ani.
Okay. What I'd like to do is start with, you said you kind of know what happened. Can you walk me through what you heard, what you saw?
So basically, this one guy, he took somebody's vape pen, and they didn't like that, so they were going to jump him, or they did, I think, and he had a knife, and he shanked 4 kids and 1 adult.
Did you see it?
Oh, no.
But you heard about it?
Yeah.
And what did you think? I mean, this is kind of crazy.
It's ghetto. Why are we stealing from people, and especially carrying a weapon to school and killing people is crazy. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How are other students reacting?
I mean, I don't really know. They look pretty fine to me, but I feel like it's traumatizing because it's your first year, and it's almost the end of the school year, and people are killing people, violence. So. Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you too, because you had some insights here. Tell me what you saw or what you heard.
Okay, in class, we hear this is a lockdown, okay? And then everybody's like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, I see the video airdropped to my friend's phone, and we seen the whole video happen of the whole fight and stuff, and it was just crazy. It was so bad. There was blood everywhere. And then I heard that basically the person who had the knife was, I don't even know. They said it was some older kid that was already had been to jail and stuff, so they came in with a knife, and then and then they only fought because over a puff bar. That was so crazy. We're fighting over puffs.
Students?
I don't know who the students are,
but they're all students. Everybody involved?
Students, yes.
So what are you feeling? I mean, obviously we keep hearing this is a lockdown. You were here to have a regular day at school.
Exactly, a regular day at school. And to be honest, I feel like this school is not safe.
At all.
At all. Not safe at all.
I'm scared for my life now.
Because we could have been in that situation.
Exactly.
We could have been there. We could have gone.
And it was near her 6th period too. So if we went into 6th period.
My 6th period.
And what grade are you both in?
9th. First year of high school.
Exactly. And it's already happening.
It's already happening.
Wow. You know, I think back to 9th grade when I was in 9th grade, and I can't imagine something like this happening. And then I assume you'll have to come right back and get right back to classes and try to finish out the year. I mean, how do you do that?
I feel like if you really think it's funny, you'll be okay with it. But I feel really bad for them because it's their kids, their parents are worried. Somebody got shanked multiple times in the chest. I hope he's all right. And then other people got chased.
And you say there's video of this?
Yes, there's video footage of this happening. It was so crazy. I can't believe I saw that video. And then Uncle, the best security guard out there, shout out to Uncle. He got stabbed and he got cut on the wrist. I feel so bad.
Wow, so a security guard, he must have stepped in, I guess?
Yes,
or is
he
that
stepped in to try to help. And he was trying to stop the fight, and then
What do you think this says about the importance of having an adult in there, a security guard or somebody in there to try to be there for you all?
I mean, I feel really grateful because if he wasn't there, it probably would have even escalated even more.
Yeah,
there could have been several more injuries than what already had been.
Okay. Well, thank you both for talking to me. I'm glad you're okay. What I was going to do is, and you wouldn't like to talk with us, you said no? Okay. What I'd like to do is in just a second maybe I want to make sure I get your names correctly spelled and everything, so I'm going to touch base with you in just a second if that's okay.
Okay.
Matt, do you mind if I continue working this scene for just a second? And then I will connect with you here in just a moment.
Dan, that is perfect. We're going to mute you, step away, get what you need to do to collect, because I do want our viewers to obviously get the most information. We're off of you. We'll show a map to our viewers at home. And Dan, flag somebody in our news team when you're ready to jump back in with us. So Alan and I will continue the conversation here inside the newsroom. But I just want to walk you guys through what we just heard there, because you have two young students talking about a security guard, somebody that they know. They referred to him as Uncle, being among those injured. And I do want to just stress to you guys, this is information that we're getting from students based on video that was being shared inside the building there. So we'll obviously have to confirm a lot of this details, but I just want you guys to understand what it's like. I mean, we're having young children talking about sharing video inside the school as people are being stabbed. Shanked is how they referred to it. And they talked about one of those people being hit in the chest. Now, they've seen the video. We haven't. I can tell you right now, Fox 13's Dan Griffin, as he's off camera, is working to get that information. But you got the live feed back up on your screen. And those are more students continuing to pour out. Hey, Alan, I welcome you back in. I apologize if we've got a little bit of misfeed with the audio. And again, to our viewers at home, we're just trying to get you guys all the information in real time. But as we bring in producer Alan's voice, Alan, I mean, how do you even take that in? You've got young people talking about stabbings like it's nothing, and then them talking about, hey, these young people, I feel bad for them. I mean, they're kids themselves. You just shouldn't be seeing this.
We are so desensitized in society these days. If that's getting passed around, if a video of a potential stabbing is just being airdropped around from student to student, what a absolutely wild thought. I was just walking my high school campus and I just got airdropped a video of a stabbing. Like, that's absolutely insane to hear. You don't want this on a high school campus. You don't want this anywhere near a school. You don't want this ever, right? But to have this happen on campus, to hear that there was a security guard that potentially stepped in, 4 students hurt, and a security guard. We are hearing that these victims' injuries are believed to be non-life-threatening injuries. So that is somewhat of the good news that we're getting from today, but we are still getting lots of information, and we are, hearing from more, witnesses from the school right now as they continue to get picked up.
Now, I see Dan Griffin is listening to us. We'll ask him to give us a thumbs up if he's okay with us jumping back out live. We just got that confirmation. So I apologize. I know you guys as viewers are watching. We just want to get you all this information in real time. So Dan, who's joining us this time?
Yeah, so this is Alyssa, and she lives in the area, and you do not have children who go here, correct? But you were concerned. You said you were born and raised, I guess, Tacoma.
Yes.
Talk to me about what it is that brought you over to the scene.
Well, I just wanted to come kind of out here and see on how it was, and then just kind of concerned about how, like, the students and everybody, the people that were stabbed. So it's kind of just, wanted to see on how they were doing. Makes it a little concerning finding out students in Tacoma are in danger here.
Sounds like that apparently there's a video of this incident that has been airdropped around to students, shared with students. What does that say to you about kind of the state of where things are right now?
I think that's terrible. That's a trauma. These students that were stabbed, that's not really something that they're going to want to relive over and over again. So having that video go around, it could possibly get back to them, can cause them to no longer want to be safe here at school anymore.
Did you hear the response? I mean, there are a ton of vehicles here, a lot of police presence. Did you hear it?
I did not. The news came out and everything came to my phone, and then I came driving by to actually see if it was, and then I seen all the detectives on the other side. The mobile command was showing up the moment I was driving by and everything, and then came to seeing how it was looking on this side and whatnot. Also kind of curious how the Rainiers are going to play tonight.
Yeah, okay. Well, all right. Thank you for talking with us. We appreciate it, and stay safe. Thank you. Thank you. Matt, a lot of people, I guess, hearing about this video, I know we were talking about this, but an apparent video that's being shared, I guess, either by airdrop or on social media, really does kind of paint the picture of what kids are facing growing up these days with technology, these kind of incidents. And, those two young ladies telling me this is their first year at Foss, and they're ninth graders, and, they are learning and they're finding their way through high school, and then to have something like this happen, certainly a tough way to have their first year here, and to try to figure out how to finish out the year after something like this.
Yeah, Dan, and one of the things that just strikes me and what makes this so difficult to kind of stomach is I noticed they were talking about, there's some young kids that are dealing with this, like they're dealing with themselves. That woman that just showed up worried was talking about trauma. I mean, like, this is a reminder. I mean, people are oftentimes in shock and not reacting the same way that you typically would. I mean, some of their classmates were just stabbed, and it almost seems like that they're desensitized to it all. I wonder for you, as you roll up on a scene like this, and you're
All right, as you see there, we're listening in to Fox 13 Seattle's coverage of this incident. Multiple people now being stabbed at Foss High School there in Tacoma, Washington. They're doing an incredible job there on the scene, making sure they got there as soon as possible to cover this breaking news as it's coming into our newsroom. And so if you're just now joining us here on Live Now from Fox, we are getting ready to slide away for our final 2-minute commercial break. But I wanted to give you an update of what we ultimately know according to Fox 13. At least 5 people have been injured after this stabbing incident that happened at Foss High School. It's important to note that Tacoma is about 30 or so minutes from Seattle, and this high school is about 36 minutes or so from this downtown center. Officers there were able to respond to a call of this possible stabbing that stemmed from a fight and found 4 students and a security guard injured. Police have said that it remains unclear whether or not all of the victims were stabbed or hurt by other means, such as falling, and the extent of their injuries is not yet known. That they are believed, though, to be non-life-threatening at this time. All 5 of the victims were taken to a local hospital. This is where those officers are now working to gather the latest update. Police did confirm that a suspect has been detained and that scene is secure, which is why we're starting to see some of those images of those concerned parents and others in the community showing up to Foss High School in order to collect their kids and also step away from that scene. And so we did want to bring you those updates here on Live Now from Fox. We're going to slide away for our final 2-minute commercial break of the hour. Our coverage continues after this. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Anna Marsick. Just moments ago, we were listening into Fox 13 Seattle's coverage as we're following breaking news. Multiple people stabbed at a high school in Tacoma, Washington. Let's bring you back out to their coverage and listen in here on Live Now from Fox.
Of how desensitized these students are to potentially just be passing around a video like that is just a crazy thought. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. Having a stabbing on campus is just such a terrible, terrible thing to happen. 4 students hurt, a security guard as well. Victim is, or the suspect is in custody, and the victim's injuries are supposed to be non-life-threatening. So hopefully we're hearing, that these victims will recover from their wounds. But yeah, all of my thoughts are kind of on the students, on the teachers, the administration, and all the parents right now of anyone that's at a Foss High School.
This is going to be a difficult one, I think, as we try to figure out what's going on. I know the next story that we'll be tracking with this is going to be, hey, how are the students feeling? How are the administrators doing? How are the teachers doing? The latest information coming in that we know that there are 5 people injured. One of them is a security guard, obviously well known based on what we just heard from those 9th grade students who chatted with Fox 13's Dan Griffin. We've got that feed up coming in. These are students and parents trying to get reunited again. We heard from Tacoma Police Department they would be doing that. As we get more information, we will push it out to you here on the Fox Local Live Desk. I'm Matthew Smith. We'll continue to track this, and as we get more information, we'll be sharing it with you. No middleman, no scripts, and just all the details as they come into the newsroom. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
All right, we were just listening in there to Fox 13 Seattle's updates coming out of their newsroom. As we have learned, at least 5 people were injured after a stabbing incident at Foss High School in Tacoma, Washington on Thursday afternoon. Just for reference, Tacoma is about 30 miles south of Seattle, and this other post coming in from Fox 13 Seattle, they're saying, as of 2:25 p.m., Tacoma police say a suspect is detained and the scene is secure. It is not clear whether the suspect is a student. Tacoma police got a call of a possible stabbing at Foss High School that we know is stemming from a fight. Another post coming in saying officers are working to determine if all of them were stabbed or hurt by other means, falling, etc. As of now, they do not know the extent of the victim's injuries, but believe to be non-threatening, and the victims were taken to a local hospital. Officers there are working to get updates. Again, Fox Seattle reporting they do not know what weapon was used or where it happened in the school. The school has been on lockdown and police are on scene evacuating the students and reuniting them with their parents in the student parking area. And we did just hear in Fox 13's coverage there, they did say that one of the, somebody who works for the school who is pretty well known was also injured. So again, Fox 13 saying the suspect is detained. The scene is secure. It's not clear if the suspect is a student, but we're learning that this did stem from a fight. 5 injured, 4 students, and a security guard who, as we just heard of the reporting, they say was pretty well known to the school. They were all injured. They're still working to determine if all of them were stabbed or if they were injured in other ways with non-life-threatening injuries. The school was on lockdown, and as we learned, these students are working to be reunited with their families. So we are going to continue following this breaking news. They're coming out of Tacoma, Washington, which is about 30 miles southeast of Seattle. Fox 13 once again reporting, if you're just joining us, some breaking news. At least 5 people were stabbed in Tacoma related to an incident at Foss High School. We are learning that 5 are injured, 4 students and a security guard. And we did learn that it's not clear if they're students, but police are saying 1 person is in custody. So we're going to continue following this breaking news, of course, as we learn updates. If you're just joining us, my name is Anna Marsick. I'm your host. Let's start right now with a live look over Capitol Hill. We did learn some developments today on the latest in the DHS shutdown. The months-long DHS shutdown that left immigration enforcement without funding is officially over. President Trump, who had urged lawmakers to pass the bill, signed that measure into law this afternoon. So that coming in just moments ago. Now, it does look like Fox 13 is back on the air with their coverage of this breaking news. They're out of Tacoma, Washington, a stabbing at a high school. Let's get you back out there here on Live Now from Fox.
With you first, and I'll make my way over to you. But just talk to me about what you heard or what you saw.
So a couple of my friends go here, and there was an incident that went down back to I heard there was an altercation with 2 kids, which led in a couple other, and it led into the process of this kid getting surrounded and jumped by 4 kids. And this kid, in self-defense, he pulled out some sort of a knife, like a pocket knife or something, and he punctured each one of the kids. And that's kind of what caused all this.
Yeah. And what did you hear, Dante?
So, I seen a video. So I got 4 friends here. I'm all close with them. They're really chill people. So I just heard a little incident between 2 kids. One of the kids were special ed. So they were defending that kid. So basically, they're just sticking up for him. I think that other kid, I don't know what he was doing, but it sounded like they're just sticking up for him. Yeah.
All right, so this does not happen every day, I don't think. I'll start with you. What is your reaction to this? I mean,
I'm a little on edge. I think it's kind of it's sudden. It's kind of out of nowhere, you know. Hopefully all of them are okay, but on school grounds, 4 kids. That's not. I'm shocked.
Yeah. And what about you, Dante?
Honestly, when I heard my friends got stabbed, I was kind of broken. I really hope they're okay. The man above only makes that right, so I just pray, make sure they're good. I love y'all for sure.
So these are friends,
yes, sir.
To some degree. Is it multiple friends or just one friend? Or
I have multiple, all 4 of them.
Oh wow.
Yes, sir. They're all my brothers.
So is this an expectation when you come to school that something like this may happen, or is this pretty rare?
It's pretty rare, to be honest. You don't, not this happens every day, not even in the worst states possible. And it's just crazy, you know?
How do you feel about it being on video? I mean, when I was coming up in high school, middle school, this didn't happen. So how do you feel? I mean, somebody took video of this, it's out there, it's being shared.
I mean, it's definitely sad to see young children like this happening to them in this day of age. But I think at the same time, I feel like that in a way it was self-defense, but it might benefit the kid who could have screwed up his whole life, so But no matter what, I don't think it was right to be videoed. I think it shouldn't be getting around that this quickly.
And, Dante, you said these are your friends, so it's on video, it's being shared. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I just think it wasn't really necessary to be video because, not a lot of people need to see that. Not a lot of people like to see violence, feel me? So, someone might not want to see it, and they see it, and then they might feel some type of way. So, to be honest, I don't really know, because videos happen. People are people. They're going to do what they want at the end of the day.
So there was a woman who came up here to the school. She said she doesn't have kids who go here, but she was worried about you all. She's just worried about the student population after something like this. Have you talked to your parents, either of you, and what have they said?
Yeah, I just talked to my mom. She said she hopes they're okay. To be honest, I don't go here. I just came because I heard my friends got stabbed. So I just talked to my mom about it. She said she hopes they're okay. And yeah.
And do you go here too, or?
No, I go to a different school.
Sure.
But yeah, my mom, I talked to her about it. She's praying for him, and she hopes they're healing.
Well, I think it says a lot that you guys showed up, for your friends. I'm glad you guys are okay. I hope your friends will be okay. Thank you for talking to me.
Of course.
We appreciate it. Take care. Thank you. So obviously, this is a situation that has expanded outside of just the school here, because you've got students from other schools who have friends involved in this incident who are showing up, who want to check on one another, who want to make sure that people are doing okay, who want to be able to be here to just basically lean on one another and try to figure this out. Matt, I think back, as I was just saying, to when we were in high school, when we were coming up in school, this kind of stuff, this wasn't being captured on video and being shared throughout the entire student class. And, we hear concerns from people, and we see these students coming up, and you have to wonder what kind of lasting damage and also trauma this kind of a situation is going to cause these students.
Yeah, Dan, it really struck me when you were talking to those two ninth grade students from Foss High School. I know that those young men that you were just speaking with rushed in because they recognized the folks in that video being passed around. But it struck me when you were talking to those ninth graders because of the levity of the situation almost that you heard in their voices, which we know, you and I have covered enough of these stories. People don't react to trauma or traumatic experiences the same way. They may feel differently about this tomorrow, but it just kind of breaks your heart to think that's what these kids are dealing with today. I don't know about you, but are you struck by the way this is all being discussed and the way that it is just so flippant that it's being passed around, that other kids are seeing this video in real time and rushing in and just saying like, hey, yeah, I talked to my mom and now I'm here just checking on my friends. Like it almost seems like any day ending in Y.
Yeah, and I don't have any children, but I'm the oldest brother, and I think about how I would feel if these were my kids, right? And I think that's the thing that's really hitting me in this moment, is that I look at these kids and I see futures, right? I see dreams. I see students who are figuring out who they are and who they want to be. And they are so encompassed in technology, and they never really get to leave any aspect of the world, because when they go home, their friends are texting. When they're out and about, their Snapchat. When they are in the halls here, anything that could have happened outside, it's all just kind of connected, right? And I think it has caused a level of desensitized basically to some of these things. But at the same time, they're carrying the weight of this in every hour and every minute. And then you throw this on top of just trying to make good grades and just trying to make it work. And, it hits me in a way that it's really kind of it's a sad thing. And, I also think they all realize that they're all kind of going through something of this nature, which is why they're leaning on each other. But it's a tough thing, to process.
So Inside Baseball now, and viewers of the program are well aware that we like to just kind of read and react to the news as it's coming in. We're tracking it, no scripts. So I noticed that those two young girls were talking about a guy they referred to as Uncle, this security guard. Now, I stress to our viewers that we're talking about it because you've seen it. There's no putting that cat back in the bag, so to speak. We don't have it confirmed yet that he was the person that was stabbed, but we know that they saw the video, so we can assume that they're correct and they know their own friend / security guard out there. As far as the security guard, the necessity, the fact that they were already there, I mean, it's good news that they're there to break these things up. But also, I wonder how those students are going to react to knowing that somebody they care about, somebody that they seem to have a lot of affection for, was actually stabbed in all this. It's not just their fellow students, but it's also the adult that they rely on for protection. We don't know if he stepped into this and got stabbed as a result, but we can definitely put some pieces together here and just wonder how that gentleman's doing.
Yeah, and Tacoma Police confirmed a security guard had been involved in this and had been hurt. And, you talk about those two young women. They are in the 9th grade. This is their first year at Foss, and they've already developed that kind of a care for this security guard. It's very clear in hearing that and in just talking with some of the people in the area that this security guard must mean a lot to the students here. Must be a resource, someone that they can, say good morning to or have a good day or lean on in moments of stress or perhaps, situations where maybe they feel like they just need to vent or need someone to confide in a safety matter or, who knows. But just hearing those two young women talk about that security guard in that way really paints the picture of not only the necessity, but also the relationship that has been built there with the security guard.
All right. And Dan, I know you're going to be preparing for the 4 o'clock newscast. I'll check with you on the backside of this. It's 3:10. Yeah. News is happening in real time. Yeah. Dan, I will check in with you on the other side of this. We're going to hand our viewers off to that interview you did with those two young women out there at Foss High School. And we'll chat offline about whether or not you can continue or if you need to prep for Seattle news tonight. But to our viewers at home, we're going to hand you off that interview that Dan and I were just talking about because I think it is really eye-opening. These are two young women, 9th grade students going to Foss High School, and we'll be keeping tabs offline with Dan Griffin and continue our coverage. Let's listen into that interview from a short while ago. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to have you, can you give me your name first?
Oh, my name is Annalisa.
Annalisa, and then what's your name?
I'm Ani.
Okay. What I'd like to do is start with, you said you kind of know what happened. Can you walk me through what you heard, what you saw?
So basically, this one guy, he took somebody's vape pen, and they didn't like that, so they were going to jump him, or they did, I think, and he had a knife, and he shanked 4 kids and 1 adult.
Did you see it?
Oh, no.
But you heard about it?
Yeah.
And what did you think? I mean, this is kind of crazy.
It's ghetto. Why are we stealing from people, and especially carrying a weapon to school and killing people is crazy. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How are other students reacting?
I mean, I don't really know. They look pretty fine to me, but I feel like it's traumatizing because it's your first year, and it's almost the end of the school year, and people are killing people. Violence. So.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you too, because you had some insights here. Tell me what you saw or what you heard.
Okay, in class, we hear, this is a lockdown, okay? And then everybody's like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, I see the video airdropped to my friend's phone, and we seen the whole video happen of the whole fight and stuff, and it was just crazy. It was so bad. There was blood everywhere. And then I heard that basically the person who had the knife was, I don't even know. They said it was some older kid that had been to jail and stuff, so they came in with a knife, and then and then they only fought because over a puff bar. That was so crazy. Fighting over puffs.
Students?
I don't know who the students are,
but they're all students. Everybody involved?
Students, yes.
So what are you feeling? I mean, obviously we keep hearing this is a lockdown. You were here to have a regular day at school.
Exactly, a regular day at school, and to be honest, I feel like this school is not safe
at all.
At all, not safe at all.
I'm scared for my life now.
Because we could have been in that situation.
Exactly.
We could have been there. We could have gone.
And it was near her 6th period too. So if we went on to 6th period,
my 6th period.
And what grade are you both in?
9th. First year of high school.
Exactly, and it's already happening.
Wow. I think back to 9th grade when I was in 9th grade, and I can't imagine something like this happening. And then I assume you'll have to come right back and get right back to classes and try to finish out the year. I mean, how do you do that?
I feel like if you really think it's funny, you'll be okay with it. But I feel really bad for them because it's their kids, their parents are worried. Somebody got shanked multiple times in the chest. I hope he's all right. And then other people got chased.
And you say there's video of this?
Yes, there's video footage of this happening. It was so crazy. I can't believe I saw that video. And then Uncle, the best security guard out there, shout out to Uncle. He got stabbed and he got cut on the wrist. I feel so bad.
Wow, so a security guard, he must have stepped in, I guess?
Yes, or is that? He stepped in to try to help. And he was trying to stop the fight. And then,
What do you think this says about the importance of having like an adult in there, a security guard or somebody in there to try to be there for you all?
I mean, I feel really grateful because if he wasn't there, it probably would have even escalated even more. Yeah, there could have been several more injuries than what already had been.
Okay. Well, thank you both for talking to me. I'm glad you're okay. What I was going to do is, and you wouldn't like to talk with us, you said no. Okay. What I'd like to do is in just a second, maybe I want to make sure I get your names correctly spelled and everything. So I'm going to touch base with you in just a second, if that's okay.
Okay. All right. So that was Fox 13's Dan Griffin speaking to those two ninth grade students a short while ago. We are going to continue our conversation with Dan in just a little bit. We have some new live images coming in. So this is coming in from that same camera. Our crew is out there on the ground. And I do want to stress that we're going to do continuing coverage on this throughout the day. We got about 45 minutes left in our show, but we're going to hand you off to Seattle News tonight. And you can bet that we will stay on top of this story for you. But I kind of want to do a reset for you all and just get you information that has been confirmed by the Tacoma Police Department. Here's what we're told. A suspect was detained, in other words, in custody, and the scene is secure. You can see police have it locked down on your screen right there. If you were live with us earlier today, you saw that we had a number of those students being escorted out of the building. That was in an effort to reunite them with parents. School was supposed to wrap up at 2:45, but we know this stabbing took place before then. Now, Tacoma Police, Tacoma Public Schools, they were working together to reunite those families. The initial call came in as a stabbing at Foss High School stemming from a fight. Now, we picked up from those students that have been talking with Fox 13's Dan Griffin that this actually started over a vape pen. At least that's what students are being told. And when I say they're being told, it's not like they're being told that by administrative officials. This is literally word of mouth bouncing around Foss High School there in Tacoma and outside, because there's video of this that has been airdropped from student to student and now has kind of jumped the school's atmosphere, and students from other schools have driven up over there to this high school to check on their friends that they saw in that video. Again, we've been learning all of this in real time right along with you, as Fox 13's Dan Griffin was the first reporter on the scene out there rushing in from his other assignment today. Officers arrived, found 4 students hurt and a security guard hurt. You heard the girls refer to somebody they know as Uncle. Sounds like he was injured in this scuffle as well. Again, we know that a security guard was injured. That has been confirmed by Tacoma Police Department. The person that was injured, that was information coming from those students. And I'll be honest, we usually don't share that kind of information, but it came out live on our air and there's no putting that back in. Also, they are working to determine if everyone that was hurt were stabbed, because as you can imagine, when there's a fight, when there's a stabbing, when there's anything, there is panic. It's kind of the don't yell fire in a movie theater ethos. Folks were running, they were scattering, there were people being injured, so they're still trying to figure out whether everybody was stabbed. But from what those girls were saying, based on what they saw on video, it doesn't sound good. Now, the initial information, I want to stress this is initial information. The victim's injuries, according to Tacoma Police, are believed to be non-life threatening. All of the individuals that were injured were rushed out to a local hospital. Officers are still working to get information because, as you can imagine, the conversation continues as they try to talk with those that were injured to figure out, hey, how did this all start? How did this actually happen? Now, we do not know what was used to stab the victims. We did hear from one of the students that they pulled out a knife. That is unconfirmed information. We are still awaiting details from police on that. The school was on a lockdown. Both Dan and I were commenting to our live viewers earlier. It was kind of eerie when they first showed up. There was these kids all walking out. It was pretty quiet, and then you just heard this robotic voice screaming, this is a lockdown, as kids slowly emerged from the school, those that were unharmed. Police obviously evacuated people, and you still see from our live pictures off on the left-hand side of your screen, there are still a number of people hanging out in the area. All right, I'm gonna chat with my producer here, Alan. I see he's working behind the scenes to get us a couple interviews queued up. Are we good to go on these individuals? Okay, so for the viewers at home, we're gonna rewind time Fox 13 Dan Griffin will still join us a little bit later in our show, but he's also pulling things together for Seattle News Tonight. While we wait for Dan to reestablish contact and jump in on this conversation about multiple people stabbed, I want to hand you off to an interview that happened just a short time ago. Again,
all right, if you're just joining us here on Live Now from Fox, we were just listening in there to Fox 13 Seattle's coverage after at least 5 people were injured and 4 people are in serious condition during a stabbing incident at Foss High School in Tacoma. Just for reference, that is about 30 miles south of Seattle. Let's take a live look right now at that scene. If you're just joining us, once again, multiple people injured after a stabbing at a high school in Tacoma, Washington. Police have said that a suspect is in custody and the scene is secure. Authorities are saying it's not clear if the suspect is a student, but as we were just listening into their coverage there, we did just learn witnesses on that scene are saying that this started over a fight over a vape pen. Taking a look right now at some video of the scene from earlier today. Let's get that on your screen. There you go. That was a look at the scene earlier today as officers responded to a call of a possible stabbing there stemming from a fight. They did find 4 students and a security guard injured. Police said it remains unclear whether all the victims were stabbed or hurt by other means, such as falling, and the extent of their injuries not yet known, though they are believed to be non-life-threatening. All 5 victims were taken to a local hospital where officers are working to gather updates. Authorities said it's not yet clear what was used in the attack or where inside the school this happened. But once again, police confirming a suspect has been detained and that scene is secure. All right, we are going to slide away right now for a quick 2-minute commercial break here on Live Now from Fox. We'll have much more coverage for you on the other side, so stay close. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Anna Marsick. Let's start right now with a live look over Capitol Hill. Time in the nation's capital is approaching 6:30 p.m. Some news coming out of the Sunshine State. Florida lawmakers have approved a new redistricting proposal that could boost Republicans just months before November's midterm elections. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis addressing the controversy over the new map this morning. Fox's Kaylee Schuyler joining us from Tallahassee, Florida. Kaylee, tell us what DeSantis had to say today.
Hey, Anna. So Governor DeSantis says that he's going to sign the bill as soon as he gets it, but